2, 1.
How's it going, everyone? It's the Bigs Podcast, episode number 79. And this is part one of episode 79. And we will be talking about the week that was in week 9 of the Bigs. With me today, not tonight, because it's still kind of the middle of the day, but with me today is Jason Ashby from Denver, Colorado. How you doing, Jason?
Mike, I'm doing fantastic. Coming off another wild week in the bigs. More movement up and down the standings all over the place. It's really getting kind of exciting, and I cannot believe that we're talking about week 9 already. Like,
Yeah.
Where has the season gone?
I know, we're in June. Like, what is this? I don't know. It's moving very quickly this year.
Yeah. Needs to slow up a little bit, but I'm excited because I am 2 weeks away. 2 weeks away from my trip to New York to, and as Joe calls it, the Bigs Conclave, where we're all going to be, invading Citi Field and watching the Mets beat the Brewers. So that's going to be a fun day. I'm looking forward to that.
Yes, that will be a really good time. That will be my first day of camp. And I will be just as sunburned then as I am right now. So
perfect.
Yeah. So what do you say we dive right into this thing? And I can't wait to talk about this first matchup here.
Yeah, because that is going to be your matchup, sir, against Ari Nisman. And wow, what a matchup. Go ahead and kick it off.
Yeah, so it was pretty wild because my team is just decimated with injuries. Like, it's IL and day-to-day up and down the entire lineup. I didn't hit a home run, I think, until Friday of the week, and I had 12 RBIs going into the weekend. And so the fact that I ended up here tied with 30 RBIs and only taking a 10-9 loss, like, I am so happy getting out of the week with this. Granted, I was playing a manager that didn't necessarily make a ton of moves, but at the same time, I was so shorthanded with what I could do. And I'm just happy I got the categories I got. So let's dive into this and we can kind of break it down later.
Yeah. It was certainly an interesting matchup. It was kind of back and forth a little bit during the week, and like you said, you did the best you could with what you had.
Yeah.
Close categories. Well, Ari didn't win anything close. I feel like everything he won, it was kind of by a wide margin. I mean, you can make a case for 4 homers by a pitcher, but 4 homers by a batter. But that's really it. I mean, everything was pretty much a wide margin from what he won. For you win by the error. You win by 1 win and 1 save, and you guys tied in doubles and RBIs. All right, here we go. You ready for this?
Yep.
Ari's bench. He goes 14 for 80.
Oh man. I did not realize. Well, I guess it makes sense. 14 for 80. 14, 20. God, I don't know. I told you what my day was, Jason.
It didn't include math.
250, 250. So that is, I don't know. 209.
Well, it's a 175 actually.
Okay.
So 175.
It's too many numbers for me.
Well, here's some more numbers for you. 11 runs, 5 doubles, 2 homers, 11 RBIs, 13 walks, 28 strikeouts, and 2 errors.
Right.
Yeah. Look, the 5 doubles, he only needed 1 to untie that category. 11 RBIs, needed 1 to untie that category. 13 walks, he needed 7 to flip that. I know the walks are kind of tough to really, credit on, but when you leave 13 on the bench and you only need 7, there may be a way to get that in. Probably the biggest egregious that I saw was on Saturday, where he had Jorge Polanco on the bench. here he is. Hits a home run, an RBI, and Josh Young does nothing at third base, where you can move McMahon to third base and put Polanco in the second.
Yeah, it's wild that
Everything else,
he did nothing in a 16-6 victory, but
right. I mean, but he had a good week.
yeah,
Aside from that, so
yeah,
so it and aside from this, there wasn't really anything that stood out as like, oh, he should have got this guy instead of this guy. Like, it was just another case of like, that's baseball. He got burned a little bit on Friday by the Red Sox rain out. That hurt him a bit. There was a Drury home run left on the bench on Monday, but there was really no way to get him in. So, it's one of those things that happens.
yeah.
He did leave on Sunday. He left a start from whoever was going to Phillies on Sunday.
Trevor Williams.
Trevor Williams, that's right. Yep, left him on the bench, and that worked out because that was not a good start.
That was an excellent benching on his part.
Yes, that was beautiful. His moves this week, you mentioned it. He doesn't make many. He made two. He added C.J. Abrams on Monday. He went one for three with an RBI and an error. And then on Tuesday, he added J.P. Sears, who in 6 innings gave up a homer, a walk, 2 strikeouts, a 150 and a 083 against Atlanta. And then dropped Abrams and dropped Connor Seabold. And that's the litany of it. That's all he did.
Yep.
But like you said, that's Ari's game, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. This time he didn't need to do much. He was in there the whole week. So
yeah.
Let's hit on his key players. I really wanted to give it to Aaron Judge, but I could not ignore what Yoshida did this week. A 435 with a 519 on base, 5 runs, 4 doubles, a homer, 4 RBIs, 4 walks, 1 strikeout, and an error. The error isn't great, and the 4 home runs from Judge is great, but I don't know. Yoshida just was ridiculous this week.
Yeah, and Ryan McMahon kind of drove me crazy this week as well.
Yeah, the fact that he hit 393 and had a 433 on base and struck out 10 times is kind of impressive.
Yeah, the only time he didn't get a hit, he struck out. That was his week.
Yeah. And he got a triple. I didn't think Ryan McMahon could get triples, so that happened.
Yeah.
His least valuable player is going to be Bo Bichette. 222 and 222 on base, just 1 run, a homer, 2 RBIs, and 6 strikeouts. Kind of a quiet week from the AL batting champ right now.
Yeah.
On the pitching side, I guess we're going to give this Cy Young. This is tough because he doesn't pitch a whole lot. But Luis Castillo, despite the loss, went 7 innings, gave up 1 walk, 6 strikeouts, a 129 and 086. Shout out to Blake Snell for 6 shutout innings, but didn't result in a win. And Castillo's opponent, the Texas Rangers, is a better opponent, so I'm giving it to Castillo.
Okay.
And the Cy Yuck, Shane Bieber, 4 innings, a homer, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts, a 15.75 ERA, and a 250 WHIP. What happened here?
Yeah, it was bad, and it was towards the beginning of the week too. So I was like, oh man, this is great. I'm in good shape pitching wise, and then all went downhill.
Yeah, he it did. All right, let's talk about your numbers here, sir. On your bench this week, you went 2 for 2.
Oh man, wow, a perfect 1,000.
Yeah, you batting 1,000. 2 for 2, 3 runs, 2 walks. None of it plays. Good job.
Thank you. I didn't have enough players to actually have a bench, so.
Well, I guess in the case that works out. Interesting. Benching didn't really come back to play, but last night benching Wandy Peralta picked up the 4-out save against the Dodgers. But it didn't really matter.
At that point, the matchup was sealed, so you know,
Yeah,
there was
it
no
didn't
point in actually playing him.
exactly. It didn't make a difference.
Yeah.
You used 11 ads, 3 hitters, 4 starters, 3 relievers, and I'm calling it 1 bulk reliever in Sean Manaea. And let's see, nothing really stood too far out. I like the reunion of Akil Badu. I hope he does some good things for you. Rich Hill,
He was
not
bad.
a bad. It wasn't bad. It wasn't great. It was kind of a Rich Hill start, but that's Rich Hill. Yeah. Anything on your ads you want to touch on?
I think it was the week before, but I added Jesus Sanchez, which was I think it was on I guess it was Sunday the week before, but I think this guy is a mainstay right now on the team, especially with all the injuries. But he was red hot before he got hurt, and
Yep.
now between him and Badu, I need outfielders to fill in for Chris Bryant and Cedric Mullins and some of the other losses that I've been dealing with. So that's
he's having over 300, so that's a great ad.
yeah. So hopefully he can hold down the fort for a bit.
Let's touch on your key players real quick. You can decide. I can't ignore Jonah Heim with his 12 RBIs, 2 runs, 3 doubles, a homer, 12 RBIs, a walk, 2 strikeouts, 381 and a 409. But also JD Davis, 4 runs, a double, 2 RBIs, a steal, 6 walks, 3 strikeouts, an error, 400 and 556. These 2 guys pretty much carried your offense, it feels like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they really did. They really did.
The least valuable hitter, I'm giving it to both of them, Carlos Correa and Chris Bryant, for kind of obvious reasons. But just to spell it out, they went a combined 2 for 20 with 2 runs, 2 walks, and 9 strikeouts. So, and obviously Bryant ends up on the IL. Correa is made of glass, and here you go.
Yep.
But you're on your way to getting Rendon back. You just picked up Peterson, so hopefully you'll start getting some help here.
Yeah.
On the pitching side, the Cy Young is definitely George Kirby. 8 innings, 7 strikeouts, nothing earned, and a .38 WHIP. How do you not get a win in a start like that?
He was going against. He was going against. I think it was Clark Schmidt, who also had.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that was outstanding. That's another great start from George Kirby. That kid's amazing.
Yep.
And I'm giving your Cy Young to, I have it here, the closers. Alex Lang, Dylan Floro, and Giovanni Gallegos it was very interesting. They each got saves and they each got losses.
Yeah.
And they each had ERAs in the stratosphere.
Yeah, all 3 of them had one day where they pitched awesome, and then another day where they got absolutely not just let me give up 1 run, but let me give up 6 runs or 4 runs in an inning. It was disgusting.
Yeah, pretty bad. And it sucks. It sucks for one of them to do it, but when 3 of them are doing it in the same week, that's rough. It's hard to come back from.
Yeah, it was Gallegos that single-handedly ruined my entire pitching strategy against the Pirates.
There it is. Yep. That was a rough day.
I was winning.
That was Friday.
I was winning in ERA. I was really close in WHIP. I may have been winning in WHIP, and I was only down by 1 home run given up by a pitcher. And then this guy comes in and flips everything.
to the Pirate. Okay, Brian Hayes. More on that guy in a minute.
Yeah, true.
So look, I mean, obviously it did not go the way you wanted it to. But to your point, the matchup ended up being close. You did fall out of first place, and now we definitely have a rivalry, a sibling rivalry with the Habers. first and second. So this is fun for everybody else. But I mean, I like I said, you can get Rendon back. I think you will start to get healthy soon. So I don't know. How are you feeling?
Yeah, I mean, so I want to like take a look at what I did this weekend offensively, because honestly, I think like 11 or 12 days in a row of like zero production offensively, and then Friday hit, and then suddenly like my team figured out collectively how to hit again.
Yep.
But I think it was like just the transition of all the injuries happening and then me trying to find the right pieces to go in there. And I found the right formula, I think, but it was just a tiny bit too late in the week. If I had one more day of the week, I felt like I probably would have or could have passed in doubles and RBIs and flipped the whole matchup.
Yeah. I mean, here's Saturday. You hit 368 with a 442, 10 runs, 6 doubles, 3 homers, 12 RBIs, a steal, 5 walks, 8 strikeouts. That was all on Saturday.
Yeah.
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 You killed it.
Was Friday good too, or was it just Saturday, Sunday? It may have just
Friday was kind of like the teetering point, like because you hit 276, 364 on base, 4 runs, the homer, 3 RBIs. Like it wasn't bad. It was kind of like the start, and then Saturday happened and just blew everything up.
Yeah. So that was
let's see Sunday.
Yeah.
Sunday, 294, 5 runs, 3 doubles, 2 homers, 6 RBIs, steal, 6 walks, strikeouts, and error. But yeah, that was a really good weekend for your offense. That, like I said, it was just finally starting to click a little bit.
Yeah, it was a little bit over 20 RBIs over the weekend, and so for the fact that I was like getting walloped in home runs and RBIs, and then suddenly like I ended the matchup tied, is just ridiculous. Because I actually considered benching the offense so that I couldn't, I didn't lose errors and that I held on to the strikeouts. But once, like, walks were really close too, so I was like, I don't want to lose walks. I need every category I can get. So I played the offense on Saturday. I was thinking about benching people, and then I was like, wait, I may have a shot at some of these like categories that I thought I had no chance in, especially doubles as well. Doubles, he was destroying me, and then the weekend happened, and I texted you, Jay. There was a guy on first base in the Giants game, and JD Davis hits a double. And I was like jumping up and down. So I was like, oh my God, a double. And then I was hoping they would send the runner from first home, because that would have tied the matchup for me, and they held him at third. It's like, and then it was done.
And he never ended up scoring. So, Giants, you did it wrong.
Agreed. Send the runner. Come on.
Send the runner.
But I want to give my my hats off to Ari. I know he didn't do much as far as making moves goes, but his management within the confines of what he had on his team I thought was tremendous this week. You talked about the 14 for 80 on the bench, and so that's a lot of decisions to make, but I think for the most part, like, he made some great decisions. There were times where, like, I'm going to play Joey Meneses today. I'm going to play Brandon Drury today. And he flip-flopped his team around a bit. Like Mike Yastrzemski, he played him for one day, and the guy got a triple the day that he played him. So it just seemed like he kept pushing the right buttons. And then, like I said, the benching of Trevor Williams on Sunday, because that game was at 105, I believe. If he had left Trevor Williams in there, it would have flipped ERA and made WHIP very close, and I would not have started DeSclafani or Soroka, and we would be talking about a different matchup here. So, his in team, or within the confines of his team, those decisions were huge and shouldn't go unnoticed.
And look, I mean, he got 4 triples in the matchup. And look who
Yep.
they're from: Ryan McMahon, Teoscar Fernandez, Joey Meneses, and Mike Yastrzemski. Like, these aren't guys that you think of as. I mean, obviously triples are lucky most of the time anyway, but like, these aren't guys you think of as triple speed guys. Like,
Yeah.
these aren't the Bichetts and even Judge to an extent. Like, these aren't guys you would think of as getting triples, but he got 4 of them from these guys. That's just wonderful.
It must have been an outfielder falling down or something in most of the cases.
Yeah, or the balls just kept bouncing around the wall or something. But
Yeah.
but you're right. Like, I mean, and yes, and even the stats that he did leave on the bench that would have played, you can't fault him for it.
Yeah.
You really can't. I mean, the benching Polanco over Josh Young, anybody would have done that. Like,
Yeah.
that there was nothing. Again, there was nothing that stood out as like, oh, you really should have thought about doing this instead. Like, it wasn't there.
Yeah. Yeah. And hey, every time the Rangers had a rally and scored a ton of runs, like, yeah, my Rangers were involved. Like, Jonah Heim had a huge week, but like Josh Young was also like super involved. Anytime
Yeah.
the Blue Jays were involved, like I was worried about Bo Bichette instead of Vlad. Like, he had these pieces strategically placed in there, I think, and he did a really great job at it. So
Yeah.
hats off to him.
Absolutely. All right. Any final remarks, or shall we move on?
Yeah, no, I just I'm happy for my brother to, if anyone's gonna dethrone me and take first place, happy it's him. And we've got our big showdown this week, so I'm psyched.
3. I am waiting in great suspense to see how this one plays out. I'm gonna love this matchup.
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun.
All right, let us move on to Kostas taking a big time victory over Adam, 16-5 whooping, which propels Kostas into 4th place now and drops Adam all the way down to 13th. So like I said, yeah, there was some big moving going on in the standings this week, and this was one of it. This was a beatdown. This was an absolute beatdown, and it really was never particularly all that close. Like, I think 13-4 was the closest it ever got. So this was a real beatdown from Kostas.
Yeah.
Close categories. Kostas wins by the triple. He wins by 2 1/3 innings pitched and 2 wins. Adam wins by 2 saves, 0.04 on the whip, and 1 relief appearance. Okay, and they didn't tie in anything. On Kostas's bench. Okay, so this was interesting, and I want to look at Sunday real quick, because what he ended up doing, what I thought was just absolutely magnificent. He benched all of the Dodgers and Yankees. And he's got a few of them. He's got a few Dodgers and Yankees, and they played that Sunday night game, and he benched all 4 of them: Freddie Freeman, DJ LeMahieu, JD Martinez, and Giancarlo Stanton. And so I split up the bench stats here, whether he did that intentionally or like I included them and then I not included them. So if we include his benchings of the Yankees and Dodgers, all week he goes 5 for 39.
Okay.
Which is a 128, 3 runs, 2 doubles, 3 RBIs, 2 steals, 2 walks, 12 strikeouts. None of it plays except the strikeouts. If he started all those 4 guys, he would have lost strikeouts.
Wow.
So nice. I just thought that, yeah, I just thought it was really impressive the way he did that. And like I don't know when he benched him. I don't know if he waited until just before game time, but I just thought that was really, really savvy. And I mean, altogether, his bench was just amazing. Like, he left nothing on the bench that mattered. And he won all the offensive categories anyway, except for walks, and he only left 2. So yeah, it was a great benching week from Kostas. Let's talk about his ads. He only made 5. He didn't really need to do a whole lot this week. he added 3 hitters, 2 pitchers. He did add Trevor Story and Trevor Rogers to his IL spots. He picked up Jake Fraley on Sunday, and all he did was hit him a home run. And I guess we would be remiss if we don't talk about the trade that happened between me and Kostas.
Yeah.
Where, I sent him Adbert Alzolay for Ahmed Rosario.
Right.
Which I am already kind of regretting because this guy.
Oh, Rosario's hurt, right? Or no?
Rosario's hurt, and he just has not been good. I'm still hoping that he's gonna figure it out and he'll be all right. But Alzolay got him a 2-inning save earlier in the week, and it was just gross. But he's owned Alzolay I think a couple times this year, so I felt like I wasn't giving up much because I don't know what the Cubs bullpen is like.
Right.
Is it him? Is it Hughes? Is it Leiter? Is it when Boxberger comes back? Michael Fulmer is around. Like there's just a lot of guys fighting for saves, and I think I even talked to you about it when we made the trade that like at least at the time like the Cubs had like 6 saves altogether all year. So
and they all had like 2, right? They all had 1 or 2.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so it just didn't seem to me like this guy was gonna really get a whole lot of save chances, and I like Rosario. I always like infield outfield eligibility. So I'm hoping that his knee is fine and he can get back to hitting a little bit, but we'll see how this Alzolay works out for Kostas. It worked out for him this week, that's for sure.
Yeah, it did.
Let's hit on his key players real quick. For his MVP, there were a lot of choices here. I mean, he hit 286. He had a great week. He stole 14 bases this week, which is more than I did.
Yeah.
But I am going to give it to Fernando Tatis. 360 average, a 407 on base, 5 runs, 3 doubles, 2 homers, 9 RBIs, 2 steals, 2 walks, and 5 strikeouts. Just a killer week. His least valuable hitter is between. So Chichi Realmuto hit 190, the 227, 3 runs, a double, 2 homers, 2 RBIs, a walk, and 5 strikeouts. The double and 2 home runs came on the weekend. So like prior to Friday and Saturday, like he didn't do, or Saturday and Sunday, he didn't do anything all week.
Yeah. Okay.
And LeMahieu, 143, 143, 3 runs, but the triple. So like that was a saving grace for his week, but otherwise he was terrible.
Yeah.
On the pitching side, we're going to talk about Logan Allen, who rhymes with Zach Allen, but it's not Zach Allen because it's Logan Allen. 13 innings, 2 wins, a homer, 4 walks, 14 strikeouts, a 138 and a 108. This kid's incredible.
Yeah. And what's his name just got hurt again? Cal Quantrill just went on the IL, so I don't think Logan Allen or Tanner Bibby is going anywhere anytime soon. Despite the fact that, and a shout out to Tristan McKenzie, who comes back on Sunday, and all he does is throw 5 shutout innings with a walk and 10 strikeouts. Like, okay. Yeah, this Guardians pitching staff is a force. It sure is. They just keep churning out young arm after young arm that is just, it's like they have a factory down there and it just doesn't stop. Yep, robots. That's what they are. Exactly. All right, so his Cy Young, well, he pitched to a 1.98 ERA. So you find a Cy Young here. Mackenzie Gore. I guess I'm giving it to, he's no longer on the team, Andrew Heaney. I mean, 3 innings, 4 walks, 5 strikeouts, a 9 ERA and a 3.33 ERA. And this was a game where his team won. They won 16-6, and he couldn't make it past 3 innings. Okay. Yeah. So I'm going there. Village Bicycle. Exactly. Who's next? Yeah. Who's gonna take a ride? Yep.
For Adam on his bench. All right, you ready for this one?
Yeah.
5 for 25.
Oh, that's a perfect 200.
It is. 3 runs, 2 homers, 4 RBIs, 6 strikeouts, and none of it plays. Well done, Adam.
Yeah.
For his moves, he also used 5 ads, 3 hitters, 2 starters. He added Kyle Freeland. More on this guy in a minute. On Monday, he added Michael Garcia, I think is how you say his name. The Royals infielder. He picked him up and then found out that he was not in the starting lineup. So then dropped him and added Nicky Lopez, who then went 4 for 5, scored a run, and stole the base.
Hey, nice job.
So, things work out. He picked up Austin Gomber for a terrible start, and picked up Riley Adams on Sunday for a 2 for 4 day. Again, just kind of finding that catcher roulette going.
Yeah, a little bit.
So let's talk about his MVP, his key players. His MVP is going to be. I'm giving it to Dansby Swanson. This was a tough week offensively for Adam. He did hit 350, 409, but 1 run, 1 double, 1 homer, 3 RBIs, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts. Connor Joe had a really good week. It would have been better if he had started him on Tuesday when he hit a home run. So I give him a little bit of a knock for that, but a 417 with a 4.62, 4 runs, 3 doubles, 3 RBIs, a steal, and 3 strikeouts is still a great week.
Yeah. Shout out to Kyber Ruiz, who hit 3 home runs as well this week.
Yes, absolutely.
The only source of power.
Yeah, and he's the only one that hit more than 2, so
Yeah.
he needed it from somewhere.
Yeah.
Let's talk about also though, Bryan Anderson and Matt Olson, so the only category that he won, that Adam won the week offensively was walks and on-base percentage. So these two guys, they walked a lot. Bryan Anderson had 4 walks, Matt Olson had 6 walks.
Yeah.
But they also had 14 strikeouts and an error combined and did nothing on the average. So therefore, I'm also giving Bryan Anderson the least valuable hitter because he scored 3 runs and the 6 strikeouts and the error in the 118 is just awful.
Yeah. All right. That's fair.
On the pitching side, Cy Young is going to be Yu Darvish. 7 innings, a win, 1 walk, 9 strikeouts, nothing earned, and a .43 ERA or .43 WHIP. That's Yu Darvish you want to see.
Yeah. For sure.
And I mentioned Kyle Freeland, and I'm going to mention him again because he was just absolutely garbage. 5 2/3, a loss, 3 homers, 3 walks, 1 strikeout, a 7.94, and a 1.59 WHIP. I think that we can ignore this guy for a little bit.
Yeah. Interesting that he streamed. So he streamed Freeland against Arizona and then streamed Gomber against, I guess, the Royals. Okay. Well, I guess the Gomber stream makes a little more sense.
I think the Gomber stream was.
Or was that also against?
Yeah.
Oh, that was also against the Royals.
Yeah, and that wasn't good either.
Okay.
Yeah. Rockies never have good pitching. I think that's been proven and tested. So I would avoid the Rockies pitchers.
Yep.
All right. What do you see in this matchup?
Well, you see total domination. That's number 1. Number 2, it's scary because Kostas has found his footing. He is really settling into what his team is. Fernando Tatis had just, like you mentioned, just a monster week. And when that guy is going good, he can carry any fantasy team. And I think it took a little bit of time for Tatis to really warm up. But I mean, Freeman, in my opinion, is arguably the best player in baseball. That's not Aaron Judge or Shohei Ohtani. But between Freeman and Tatis, it's just a scary collection of dudes here. Jake McCarthy came out of nowhere to just like, he just figured it out in the minors, I guess. So good for him.
He
But
stole 5 bases this week. 5.
stole 5 bases. Like, where the hell was this JD Martinez last year when I owned this guy the entire season? I think he hit 14 home runs like total last year, but he's already at that number, which is stupid. So
and I mean, like, and guys like Spencer Steer, this guy is stealing 2 bases for him, hitting 375. Like, what?
yeah.
And he has Trevor Story now waiting in the wings, and this guy, he's going to come back. They're talking about him DHing, so he might be back, sooner than later. You can get anything out of him.
Yeah. It's a savvy pickup for a guy that has everything clicking except for probably that second base position. So Trevor Story is a great ad there.
Yeah. And look, his pitching is solid too. Like,
yeah. Zach Gallen, I mean, the guy who we thought was going to lead this staff, Alek Manoah, has been dreadful, but I mean, everyone else is
the rest
kind
of the guys
scary.
have picked it up.
Yeah.
Hunter Green, Logan Allen, even guys like Alex Cobb, and I mean, the bullpen has been fine. Yeah, Kostas is on a roll here, and I don't think he's going to be letting go anytime soon.
No, it's a scary manager to face. I'm glad that I got it over with in week 1.
Agreed.
Yeah. And now he takes on Ben, which is kind of an awesome matchup. It's I mean, me and my brother is going to be really fun because we're first and second, but right after that is third and fourth, and that's Ben and Kostas, and that's so exciting because both managers are red hot right now. So something's got to give, unless it's 10-10.
Yeah. Which, I mean, look, it very well could be the way like you said, the way these managers are going. It is this is gonna be an incredible. This is great. Like 1 and 2 and the 3. It's like a playoff. It's like a playoff game right now.
It is. So I mean, I'm super excited for that matchup. And then on the flip side of things, Adam is still trying to gain his footing in what this league is, and he had a strong start, I think, to the season, and then he's kind of tapered off a bit. I think with this roster, you can't be afraid to let go of some of these pieces. Like I think that a guy like Jack Sawinski was good at one point during his hot streak, but then maybe you can find another piece to supplement. I don't know. I could be wrong on that, but that's just sort of my instinct there, is like there are guys that are very streaky, like Owen Miller and Chas McCormick and Jack Sawinski, like Brian Anderson, Connor Joe. Like these are guys that you can probably see them as more expendable than he's treating them right now. So that's sort of my only gripe with the offense. And then his pitching staff is fine. I think that they can, like, if Scherzer and Darvish are effective and stay hot, you've got Joe Ryan there too. That's a nice trio.
Yep.
And then with Iglesias and Kimbrel, you've got a bullpen. So his pitching staff, I don't really have a ton of concern with. It's more the offense.
He's close to getting Alvarado back. He's close to getting Tyler Estrada back. So, like, maybe there's a case of just getting healthy, and once he gets these guys back, like, he can drop some of these other pieces that that maybe aren't mainstays, and maybe he can try and get a mid-season run going.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, Swanson and Hap, I think, are great fixtures for the center of this team. Machado, obviously. But then it's just a bunch of guys who you're kind of piecing together moving forward. So we'll see. I think he's probably starting to feel a little frustrated right now. And not to mention, he is facing off against another really hot team in Frank, who is 5th. So it doesn't get any easier for Adam. And
it doesn't, and because then after that it's Henry, and then it's Joe, and it's Mike Sherman, and then it's Ben. Like, it really doesn't get any easier.
No, it doesn't. So but every first year manager has to go through this and feel it and kind of get used to like how the league works now, and he'll adjust. And I think that just based on like these first couple of weeks, like he knows what he's doing and he's a savvy manager, and I think he'll learn from it and grow. And and this, I'm not talking like insinuating he's out of it by any means, because he's not.
He's not.
It's still too early to make that call, but
he's in 13th place. But like, look, he's only what,
10 games back
like
of 6.
10 games out of a playoff spot. So
Yeah.
like,
So
and I mean, I know we say that the season's flying by, but it is still only the beginning of June. There's still plenty of time left.
Yeah. To get 2 big wins under your belt and you're in the hunt.
Yeah.
So I'm not too worried about him. Kostas, we already talked about, is in great shape. So yeah, very interesting dynamic in this week's matchup though.
Absolutely. All right. Let us move on to our next matchup here, and that is going to be James McCloskey taking an 11-9 win over Bobby Russo. This was another really good matchup to watch. Two savvy managers with very good rosters. I was really waiting to see who was going to come out on top, because this one went back and forth all week long. At one point, McCloskey was down 6-12. He was also up 13-6. Like, it was all over the place. And it was really fun to watch. So thank you guys for letting me watch this matchup. So, and the funny thing is like, so Bobby Russo, who, lost the matchup, like he started in 4th, but he still ends up in 6th. So like, he's still in a playoff spot. Yeah. And McCloskey moves up 1 spot to 7th. So he's right there. This group is going to get really, really crazy in just a few weeks. I love it.
Yeah.
Let's dive into the close categories. McCloskey wins by 3 runs, 1 triple, 3 homers by a batter, 2 steals, 2 1/3 innings pitched, and 1 walk by a pitcher. Bobby wins by 3 walks by a batter, 2 errors, 2 losses, 1 save, and 3 relief appearances, and they tied with 4 wins apiece. On McCloskey's bench, all right, here we go. 13 for 51.
13 for 51. All right. 13 for 52 is a 250. So 13 for 51 is a 256.
Going down. 255.
Oh, come on. All right.
You still plenty of time. You're gonna get one this year. I know it.
That was as close as I'm gonna get, I think.
255, 5 runs, 3 doubles, a triple, a homer, 3 RBIs, 4 walks, 11 strikeouts. I mean, the nitpicky thing is to say all 4 walks would have flipped the category, but otherwise it was a fantastic benching day. There were a couple of times where like he had Kiermaier on the bench and Hunter Renfroe didn't start, or then vice versa. So he had trouble with Kiermaier and Renfroe. He had a day of Renfroe hitting a home run on the bench, and Kiermaier went 0 for 4. Otherwise, though, it was really just a really excellent bench week for James.
Yeah.
He used 4 ads, 2 hitters, 2 starters. And here they are. On Monday, he added Emmanuel Rivera, who goes 2 for 4, 2 runs and a double. On Tuesday, he has Tyler Anderson, 4 innings pitched, a loss, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts, a 32-50 and a 2 whip against the White Sox. On Wednesday, he adds Kevin Biggio, 1 for 3 with a double and an RBI. And on Thursday, he adds Chase Anderson, 6 innings, 2 homers, a walk, 2 strikeouts, a 3 ERA, and 0.83 whip against the Royals. And that's it. He dropped a bunch of dudes, but he only made those 4 ads and nothing over the weekend. But turns out he didn't need to, so it worked.
Yeah.
Let's dive into key players. For his MVP, shout out to Ohtani, but I have to give it to Corey Seager. 407 with a 429 on base, 7 runs, 3 doubles, 2 homers, 10 RBIs, a walk, and 2 strikeouts. I mean, Ohtani had a good week by his own right with 8 RBIs and the triple, but I couldn't ignore the 10 RBIs from Corey Seager, who's just on fire since coming back from the injured list.
Yep.
Least valuable hitter. Well, we talked about his issues with Renfroe and Kiermaier. Kiermaier, for what he did in the lineup, was nothing. He struck out 5 times, and that was it.
Perfect.
Yeah, so that didn't work out. Gene Segura was bad also, but the 2 steals won in the category essentially. So I had to give it credit there.
Okay.
On the pitching side, it wasn't a great pitching week for McCloskey, who pitched to a 5 ERA. But we're gonna give it to Clayton Kershaw because he's Clayton Kershaw. 7 innings, a win, 2 homers, a walk, 9 strikeouts, a 2.57 and an 0.71 WHIP. And that was against the Yankees. So, can't hang your head on that. So.
No, it was a great start.
On the flip side, though, Luis Severino was not good. 4 innings, a loss, 3 homers, a walk, 2 strikeouts, a 15.75 ERA, and a 2.50 WHIP.
Yeah.
But also a shout out to Matt Barnes, who is no longer on the team or on the Marlins active roster. But this guy, I think his ERA touched Pluto with 135 and a 15 WHIP. I read this. He actually gave up. I think he gave up five runs. Yeah, he gave up 5 runs while getting just out.
Oh my God.
That is ugly. That is ugly.
Yep.
For Bobby Russo this week, he goes on his bench 5 for 16.
5 for 16 or 15?
16, 1-6.
1-6. So that is obviously a 316.
That was a very stone cold guess, but it was actually 313.
Oh, come on. I feel like if I'm more confident with the guess, like it's gonna be right, but
that's a theory.
Yeah, I guess that's
313, 2 runs, a homer, 3 RBIs, 2 steals, 4 walks, 5 strikeouts. The one thing so the steals one of them came on Monday. This was an interesting. It was Harrison Bader, who then ended up on the injured list. But before he ended up on the injured list, he stole the base. So, oops. But again, like, who would have faulted you? Like, he got 1 at bat and he stole the base.
Yeah.
The other one was on Wednesday, and that was Candelario. He had Volpe on the Volpe didn't do anything, and you could move McKinstry into short and put Candelario there. Candelario had a huge day on the bench. But again, what do you do? The other interesting that happened on Wednesday, we talked about Harrison Bader, how you benched him and then he went up on the injured list. Justin Steele did the same thing. He only pitched 3 innings, but those 3 innings would have flipped innings.
Oh.
And they were, and so it was, and who knew he was going to get hurt and get pulled in the middle of the game, but he benched him against Tampa Bay, which makes sense because it's the Rays. So it was a logical benching, but it just, it would have flipped innings. So it would make things a lot closer.
Yeah.
But that's baseball.
Yeah, you're winning in ERA and WHIP and home runs given up. And losses. Like, I get it. Yeah, and it's Tampa Bay. So, and I don't know, there are certain guys maybe start against Tampa Bay. I don't know if Justin Steele is one of those guys. Yeah, not sure. So I don't blame him. His ads this week, he made 7 ads, 3 hitters, 3 starters, 1 reliever. The 1 reliever was Brock Stewart on Monday. I really wanted this guy.
and I lost out on him. But on Monday, he threw 1 inning, gave up a home run, 2 strikeouts, an 18 ERA, and a 2 WHIP. So I felt pretty good about that.
Yeah.
But I think he ended up getting him stays later in the week, so it all evened out.
Yeah.
He added his starters. He added Colin Rea, Michael Lorenzen, and Adrian Hauser. And this is where, the wins category. Colin Rea, so it's 5 innings, gives up a home run, 3 walks, 5 strikeouts, a 5.40 ERA, and a 1.80 WHIP in Cincinnati. Michael Lorenzen throws 7 innings, gives 6 strikeouts, a 1.29 ERA, and a 0.29 WHIP against the White Sox. Who gets the win?
Yeah.
Colin Rea.
Yep.
Not Michael Lorenzen.
Yeah.
Yeah. He on Sunday he added Trent Grisham and then dropped Trent Grisham and added Chris Taylor. Grisham went 0 for 4 with a run and 2 strikeouts, and Chris Taylor went 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts.
Oh,
so,
okay. No. I thought there was going to be an exciting ending to that story.
Nope. I let you down.
Yeah.
For his key players, let's talk about Corbin Carroll. A 346 with a 414 on base, 6 runs, 2 doubles, 2 homers, 6 RBIs, 2 steals, 3 walks, 6 strikeouts, and holy shit.
Is this what Bobby Witt was supposed to be?
I mean, it sure seems like it. This kid is definitely rookie of the year, I think.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah,
he's just on fire. He's playing every day in the middle of that Diamondbacks lineup. This is a star.
This is a potential 30-30 player every year.
Absolutely, yeah. This is, he could be the second coming of like Ronald Acuna.
Yeah, could be.
The guy who isn't though is Jake Cronenworth, who hit on the interstate, .95, .95, 2 runs, an RBI, a steal, and 9 strikeouts. Shout out to a bad week from Jose Ramirez, but not as bad as Cronenworth. And Cronenworth has been dog shit all year.
Yeah, he has. I'm not. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Can't argue there.
Yep.
Cy Young, we talked about him already. Michael Lorenzen no longer on the team, but he's been actually really good. He's had a couple of blow-ups here and there, but for the most part, he's been really solid. So
yeah,
maybe he'll find a team and stick on it for a little bit.
Maybe.
And for his Cy Young, well, he pitched to 277, so he had a good week. But I guess Trevor got blasted, so we'll give it to him. 2 innings, a homer, a walk, 3 strikeouts at 22.50 and 250 over 2 relief appearances. But aside from that, nobody really stood out to me as like a bad outing.
Yeah, agreed.
All right. So yeah, this was a dogfight. This was an absolute dogfight by 2 hungry managers, and James came out on top, but I don't think Bobby should feel bad about not coming out on top.
Yeah, I agree. And these managers sit in 6th and 7th place, right next to each other, right ahead of you in 8th, and an 11-9, 9-11. It didn't really matter much for where they stood in the league and where they stand in the hunt. And I think both of these managers have potential playoff rosters. They're both excellent managers. I think McCloskey was probably upset with what happened a couple weeks ago, and he's hungry to maybe turn that fate around and pick up some more momentum, because he was in first place for a couple weeks this season. So I think this was a nice sort of stopgap win for him, sort of put an end to the bleeding. And Bobby is he's a little injured right now, his team, given his team name, IL be back, IL10 be back, which is a great team name. We both have, I think, 8 players injured or 7, something like that. But Yeah, no, he's weathered it well, and his stars are keeping him afloat, and Bobby will absolutely be there at the end. So I'm not worried about either of these managers. They're both in perfectly great shape, both over 500. Um, yeah, this is absolutely going to be probably a 9 to 10 team race for 6 playoff spots is my guess.
Yeah,
It could
yeah,
be
I
anyone,
agree.
but
I agree. It's going to be so exciting to see how this all shakes out.
yeah, for sure.
That is going to take us to our final matchup of the match with Bryan. This was, man, after what he did to you the previous week, to me this week was I was really really scared this week.
Yeah, this was a crazy matchup. This was something that I thought was going to be a blowout. You thought was going to be a blowout. This was something that was like destined for.
It was a blowout.
It was a blowout until Sunday. But Lebo winds up taking the 10-8 victory, and as you said, if you had let him take this second like whooping in a row, like Lebo would be red hot, like full momentum. He would be scaring all the other managers. I'm sure like no one is looking forward to playing him, but the fact that you came back and made it close, like I think was helpful to all the rest of the managers around us. So
the standings would be a much different story right now.
yes. So it ended in a 10-8 victory for Lebo. Close categories here. Lebo wins by 5 runs. Oh, I clicked out of it. 5 runs, 3 doubles, 3 home runs by a batter, 0.003 ERA, and 4 relief appearances. You win by 3 stolen bases. Shocker. 2 walks. You win by a win, 2 losses, 4 walks by a pitcher, 2 strikeouts by a pitcher, and a .11 whip. You guys tied in triples with 1, strikeouts by a batter with 40, and errors with 1. All right. On his bench this week, we're starting off easy for you.
Okay.
7 for 35.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a nice even 200. I know that one.
That is a nice even 200. Yes. Well done. So 3 runs, a triple, and the triple is the key here because that would have won that category. The triple came on Wednesday, and it was Bryan Hayes on the bench, who he just tortured you this week. So
yeah, he didn't need any more from that guy.
it's too bad he couldn't get him in because he had Kyle Farmer who went 1 for 5 at utility and Bryan Hayes on the bench with the triple. Otherwise, nothing else would have played. It's 3 runs, 2 RBIs, a steal, 2 walks, 11 strikeouts, and an error. It's just that one triple.
Yeah.
For his transactions, it was kind of awesome because both of you used all 12 this week, and I love matchups that end up like that. So Lebo used all 12. He added 5 relief pitchers, Jake Diekman, Alex Vesia, someone named Mushinski, Giovanni Moran, Ryan Sheriff. That an interesting eclectic group of relief pitchers there.
Yes.
3
he finds these guys. That's what Lebo does. He finds these guys that like are literally in the world of obscurity, and he puts them in his lineup, and they perform for him.
Yeah. Mushinski was not very impressive, but everyone else, yes, did a good job for him. 3 hitters, Joey Weimer, Kevin Newman, and Patrick Bailey, who actually had an awesome game on Monday. I think that was a triple there too. Like he streamed that. He also added 4 starting pitchers: James Paxton, Roansy Contreras, Paul Blackburn, and Bryan Woo.
Yeah, and let me tell you that Woo start, I really wanted him, and he used the fact that he's an hour behind me, behind me in the time zones. He was able to get him before I was able to, and I really wanted this kid because like he's a Mariners, young pitcher, and they have a thing with young pitchers.
Yeah.
Man, am I glad I didn't pick that guy up. That was awful.
Yeah, that was not good. Who was that against? Was that against Texas?
I believe that was against Texas. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, wow, it's tough to stream anyone that you don't know against that lineup right now. So I may not have been so excited to jump on that, but hey, he took a risk. For Lebo's key players this week, I'm sorry, Jason, but the MVP has to go to Brian Hayes. Goes 7. He goes 7 for 11 this week, which is a 636 average, 636 on base, 2 runs, a double, 2 homers, 5 RBIs, and 3 strikeouts. And if he had gotten that triple in there, it would have been even better.
Yeah, he didn't need it.
No. His least valuable player, I mean, there were a few that really underperformed this week, which I'm kind of annoyed at because they're the hitters that killed me. But I am going to highlight Trey Turner just because of the fact that it's Trey Turner and he should be doing more than this. A 125 average and a 160 on base, 2 runs, 2 doubles, an RBI, a steal, a walk, and 5 strikeouts, that's not what you want from your number 1 overall pick of the draft.
Right. It's a decent. The counting stats are decent for a waiver ad or something like that. But like you said, he's much higher than that, and he's had a real struggle this year.
Yeah, he has, and like batting average is where Trey Turner always made up for everything else, and the fact that he's hitting 232 is just a little frightening.
Yeah.
Shout out though to Tyler Stevenson, who just annoyed the crap out of me a week before, and this week just hit 105 against you. So that's cool.
But he did have the triple.
He did have the triple, and Jonathan India had some counting stats, but he didn't hit very well. For his pitching, let's highlight his Cy Young, which is a very obvious choice in Marcus Stroman.
This guy killed me.
Yeah. Marcus Stroman pitched 15 innings, which I don't think any starting pitcher is going to pitch more than that in a week. 2 wins, 4 walks, 14 strikeouts. He did not give up an earned run and a .60 whip.
Let's put it this way. Assuming a pitcher has 2 starts in a week, he's not pitching more than 9 innings in either start. So the most he's going to throw is 18 innings. This guy threw 15.
Yeah, and I don't think we've seen a complete game in a long time. We've seen 1 complete game, but 2 back-to-back by a pitcher. Right. I don't think we'll ever see that.
But I mean, he's brought off 4 wins in a row, 6 innings at least in each start. He's been absolutely amazing, and he basically won Sunday.
Yeah.
With that shutout performance against the Padres, that won Sunday because that flipped the ERA.
Yeah, and the Padres I think got out to a 7-0 lead in the 2nd inning or something. So the Cubs got off to a 7-0.
The Cubs did, yeah. So, and I was watching that game going, well, there goes that.
Good try, everyone. All right, so let's talk about his Cy Young real quick. We already mentioned him. It's Kenny Woo, Bryan Woo. Do you get my reference or no?
No, but I like it.
It's D2 Mighty Ducks. Shout out to anyone.
Oh my God, I haven't watched that movie in 40 years.
Yep. My brother will get that one. So, yeah. Let's move on to.
I was surprised about the Contreras stream against his Cardinals. I saw that and I was like, okay, thanks.
Yeah, but the Cardinals have been going through this really hot, really cold stretch. And I think that he was trying to catch them on a cold stretch because the Cardinals hadn't really been doing much of anything.
Fair.
But at the same time, yeah, I don't know
Yeah.
that I would stream a Pirate pitcher against the Cardinals, but
Yeah. Anyway, as you were saying.
Let's flip over to your team here on your bench this week. You go 7 for 50.
Okay. I mean that's good.
That's very good.
Okay, so $168.
140.
Okay, that's better.
Yeah. 5 runs, a double, 3 RBIs, 2 steals, 9 walks, and 10 strikeouts. The only thing is those 5 runs, but you probably would have had to be completely perfect just to get those in to tie the matchup. On Sunday, you decided to bench a bunch of your players.
So Sunday was a wild day. And I mean, you'll touch on the ads too, but I kind of added and dropped people like willy-nilly, not willy-nilly, but like I was just picking up people and going him or not him. Yeah, like I benched Duran, even though he was playing in a doubleheader. I knew he wasn't playing in game 1, and he's been god awful. So I benched him on Sunday. I benched Suarez because strikeouts were close, and we ended up tying. And Suarez is a guy who strikes out a lot, so like I didn't want to risk the strikeout. I didn't, I knew I wasn't going to get 3 home runs from him. I wasn't going to get 3 doubles from him. I wasn't going to get 10 RBIs from him. So like there wasn't really the gain from starting him.
Yeah.
And the same was for Christopher Morel, who I think he ended up actually walking. I don't even know if he struck out on Sunday, but yeah. And Vargas too. By the time the Yankees-Dodgers game started, I definitely didn't need him in there. I didn't want any strikeouts. So
right.
Yeah.
I mean, when all said and done, it's 3 runs on the bench on Sunday, which I mean, it wouldn't have changed anything.
Right.
So it didn't really affect the matchup at all. But those 5 runs, you would have had to just been perfect all week.
And I was really mad because I was watching the Braves Diamondbacks game, and I guess I hadn't refreshed or something, but I showed that he had Michael Harris in the lineup, and he struck out his first at bat, and I did a real fist pump, and then I refreshed and saw that he actually benched him, I guess like just before game time, and because that strikeout would have flipped it, but anyway, I digress.
Yeah. Savvy. Well done, Lebo. For your transactions this week, like I said earlier, you used all 12 ads. You added 4 starters, Griffin Canning, someone named Ryan Weathers, maybe.
Yes.
Carlos Carrasco, Andrew Abbott, who is that young kid who's pitching tonight. That should be fun. 6 relievers, James Karinchak, Adam Ottavino. You got a great bulk appearance from Hulk Hogan Harris, so that's fun. AJ Minter, Joe Kelly, and Victor Gonzalez. And you added 2 hitters, 2 Luis Garcia and Luis Urias for this week, I'm assuming. And then we also mentioned the trade for Alzolay to Kostas for Ahmed Rosario.
Yep.
So 12 ads used. Any ads that you want to highlight there?
Yeah, I mean the Harris, the Hogan Harris, the Hulk Hogan Harris. Originally he was supposed to start that game, and at the last minute I saw that he was going to act as the bulk reliever, and I was like, okay, I'll go for that.
Yeah, I'll take it.
Yeah, so I like the way that turned out. And obviously Griffin Canning worked out for me. So did Carlos Carrasco. Like, I feel like most of them worked. Weathers did not work out, and I will not, after watching him against the Cubs yesterday, I will not go near this guy ever again. I don't care if his dad is David Weathers. Fuck that guy.
Yeah. He couldn't get anyone out.
Yeah. I'm mad that I dropped Karinchak. He got the win on Sunday, but I also I feel like relief wins are like one of the least things you can possibly predict.
Yeah.
So I really didn't think that he was going to pitch back-to-back days. So that's why I dropped him.
Right.
But it is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
And obviously Minter, the Minter win on Sunday was huge because that negated the Stroman win, which so it still gave me wins. I told you I was watching that game and I turned it off, and then in like the 8th inning or the 9th inning or something like that, the Braves were rallying, and I was like, the Braves are going to rally here, and AJ Minter pitched the last inning. He's going to be the pitcher of record, and there it happened.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, it was a crazy Sunday. It really was. And I also give you credit for that. We'll get into your pitching in a second, but the Griffin Canning and JP France, like they started against each other, right?
Yes, they did.
And
Lebo even texted me going that Canning France matchup ruined me.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the game ended 2-1. So that's exactly what you want in a game where your pitchers are going up against each other. So that was pretty brilliant on your part. Let's get into your pitching here. Your key players in general.
Yes.
So you didn't win many of the offensive categories this week. The two that you won were stolen bases and walks. So want to highlight Christian Yelich, who didn't do much else, but he did get you the 2 stolen bases and the 4 walks. Wander Franco did have a good week. Why did I not give it to him? I don't know. Probably because of the 4 walks, and Yelich just contributed to both of the categories that helped you win.
Yeah.
So
and Franco was kind of dinged up a little bit. He missed 3 games. So I'm glad to see that he's healthy now, but that was a scare. And every time you see that guy with the D next to his name, you kind of panic.
Yeah, a little bit. But it looks like he's back in there, and I think he's healthy now, so that's good news.
Yeah.
For your least valuable hitter,
Pick one.
Yeah, there are a lot here. I'm gonna give it to Pete Alonso, with the 130, 167, 2 runs, a homer, an RBI, a steal, a walk, 3 strikeouts. That's really ugly. But also, let's shout out some other fellas here. Shout out Eugenio Suarez, Austin Hayes, Miguel Vargas, some of those guys who had some ugly weeks for you. Vargas had the triple, so I couldn't give it to him, but
yeah. And I think that didn't that happen that happened early in the week, it happened on Saturday. It happened late in the week. Yeah, that was cool. Then and obviously the Alonso home run happened on Sunday. Aside from that, he's been awful lately. But I texted you this too. I don't know what it is with Bryan Lebo, but okay, I hit 193 with a 269 on base. Last week, you hit 197 with a 264 on base. Bryan Lebo, for whatever reason, has our number when it comes to the rate stats.
Yes, he does. And do I have to play him again this year? I know you don't.
No, I don't think either of us do. Yeah. Not into the playoffs.
All right. Let's move on to your pitching staff here. We are going to highlight your Cy Young, the same Cy Young we highlight every week, and that's Framber Valdez, who goes on to give you 7 clean innings, a win, a walk, 7 strikeouts, nothing earned, and a .86 whip. Your Cy Yuck this week, I'm going to go with Bryce Miller.
Yeah.
And that's an uh-oh. Has the league figured him out? So that's 4 2/3 innings, a loss, 2 homers, 3 strikeouts, a 15.43 ERA, and a 2.36 whip, and that was against
the Yankees, and it would have been even worse if I didn't bench him on Sunday against the Rangers. I'm holding on to this kid because those are two tough offenses. I can't fault him for that. The start against the Angels that's coming up, that I'm gonna be really curious to see how he does, because he had been really good before. Even against like Astros and the Braves. So like, we'll see. I don't know what this means, but I need to give him at least one more shot.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah, I think that's fair.
Yeah.
And that is your pitching this week. So, thoughts? Take it away.
Yeah. I am over the moon to be walking away with an 8-10 loss. When I think was it like Friday, I was down like 16-2 or something like that. Like things really turned on its head, and I don't really know what happened. It all happened so fast, and it was like a whirlwind. I woke up one morning, I was like, oh, okay. Bryan is, we talked about it last week. Bryan is a hungry manager, and he is, look, he didn't get the big win that he got last week, or that he had going, for most of this week, but he got a win, and he's in 9th place now. He is just climbing up the standings, and there's no reason to think that he's not going to slow down.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm kind of humming along here. I'm in the middle of the pack, literally, and I still feel okay. I need this offense to start clicking. Julio went back down again this week. We talked about Alonso. Varsho has been okay-ish. I need this offense. I'm trying to figure out what to do with this offense, because I'm starting to lose patience with some of these guys. So I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely a rough offensive week for you, but I feel like you have guys that are either like red hot or ice cold. Like there's not a ton of in between here.
Exactly. Yeah. I just dropped Morel today, which I didn't want to do because he was so hot for those 12 games or whatever it was, and now he's just been just awful. And there was a point where I could have traded him. He had value, and I held on to him, and now like the Cubs could send him back down for all I know.
Yeah. He hasn't had a hit since May 26th.
Yeah, that's bad. That's really bad.
Yeah, it's not that good.
Yeah. So, I feel okay dropping him, but like that's not what I envisioned. But my pitching, look, I like my pitching. I think it's there's some question marks for sure, but I feel like I'm still in a good enough spot where I'm competitive and I'm gonna make a run for it.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah, you're right at 500. You're a game under 8th place. Yeah, make a run. You're in perfect position to do that. And like we said earlier, like and Lebo's right behind you, right? So
yeah,
we've got from Frank down to Lebo separated by 6.5 games. Which that's awesome. It's so much fun.
This 5 through 9 is just a real wild bunch.
Yeah, 5 through 9 is a wild, like hungry bunch. And then after that, though, it's like Henry through Mike Sherman are only separated by 4.5 games. That's 10 through 14. So it's like everyone is still in the hunt right now. And then we've got our 15 and 16 seeds that could be out of it soon if they don't like make huge turnarounds. But
yeah, I feel like those days are probably almost numbered, but look, it's the biggest anything can happen, right?
Yeah, anything can happen. I love that there are 4 teams at the top separated by less than 10 games though, because that's really fun.
And they're all playing each other this week. Like that. Yeah. Again, it's like a semifinals matchup going on.
Yep. It's a lot of fun. All right. Is it that time?
I think it is.
All right.
I think it's that time.
You want to kick it off?
All right, let me take a look at these matchups again. All right, for number 3. Oh man, for number 3, I am going to give it to. Wow, this is actually pretty tough
It is.
because I know who my number 1 and number 2 are. Um, ah, all right, I'm gonna give it to McCloskey here.
Okay.
Taking the 11-9 victory, getting off that losing streak, recovering from the not making the minimum, the big loss there. Just enormous win to get him over the hump and especially over a manager who's right ahead of him in the standings. So definitely enormous for him, and hats off. Well done.
Yeah, I really want to give it to McCloskey. I really want to give it to Ben. There are so many deserving managers, but I have to highlight Josh. I know he went up against the last place team, so
yeah, I know
the opponent wasn't there. But anytime this guy, a guy gets himself into first place, knocking you out of first place, and when it's your brother, I have to make mention of it. So I have to give him credit. He's been on fire these last few weeks, and now he's going to face you in what's going to be an absolute showdown. So congrats to you, Josh Haber.
Yeah. No, I feel bad leaving him off this list, but yeah, when you're going up against the guy who doesn't really do much, it's tough. But he definitely earned that victory, and deserves some honors as well. All right, number 2. I'm gonna give number 2 to Kostas here, taking that 16-5 victory that we talked about earlier, propelling himself into 4th place and solidifying his place in this league. I mean, 4th place, and with the roster that we talked through earlier, this is pretty scary stuff. So hats off. 16-5 is amazing. Great job, Kostas.
Yeah, for all those reasons and more, he's my number 2 as well. It's a huge win, propels him into the top 4, drops Adam, almost out of the picture in one swoop, and he's become very savvy. He's got the roster, he's got the pieces. So yeah, let's see how far he can go with this, but it's scary.
Yeah, for sure. All right, number 1 manager of the week. We probably have the same one here, but Frank Bucco, well done taking that 16-3 shellacking over Joe Schubert, knocking Joe into 12th place in the league. So angry that he changed his team name to I Smell Sex and blank Andy.
Fill in the Andy.
Fill in the Andy if it's Randy or Sandy or Yandy. I don't know what it is.
It's not candy though.
It's definitely not candy. Not this week, and not against Frank Bucco, who again just propels himself in the standings, solidifies his place. I mean, this is awesome.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't know what else to say about it, but good for Frank, and it's awesome to see him climb himself into 5th place right now.
It is awesome, and look, he had that big loss to Kostas a few weeks ago, and then a smaller loss to Sherman the week after. But aside from that, I mean, 14-6, 16-3, 14-7, 16-3. He is a force.
Yeah.
And yeah, this again, these top teams are just so incredible. The competition is incredible. I do have to give my hats off to Bryan Lebo again. He had me down and bleeding all week, and I somehow managed to come back and mitigate the big loss, but it could very easily have been another blowout for Bryan Lebo, and we could be talking about a completely different standing. So I have to give my hats off to Bryan Lebo.
Yeah, for sure. for sure. And hats off to the other winners of the week. Ari taking me down.
Yeah.
Ben taking an 11-9 win. Like, you know, all the winners of the week. Well done. But yeah, it's this is really an exciting season, I think, just because of how close everyone is, and there's no like runaways in first
Yeah.
or So
Yeah, like I said. I mean, you have your 1 through 4, and then you have your 5 through 10 or 5 through 9, and then everybody else. But even with everybody else, it's still so close, and there's still so much baseball left. It's not over yet.
it is not over yet. All right, cool. Great job.
I think that's gonna wrap it up, guys. This was
Yeah.
this was week 9, and again, there's still a lot of baseball left. I can't wait to see what happens. But until then, it has been real.
And it has been fun.
And it is always real fun in the bigs. We'll see you next time, guys. Have a good night.